What is up, gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode on the channel. As always, so glad to have you guys back. On today's episode, we will be discussing how you can set a practical guide to finding your purpose. Before we get started in terms of understanding how to find your purpose, let's look at why you might even want to find purpose. Ultimately, the one way that we as men can anchor ourselves to living a healthy and fulfilling life is to know what the core reasons that we wake up every day are. And in order to satisfy and to be able to evaluate what those core reasons are, there's a couple of key frameworks that I'm going to run you through today. But imagine waking up in the morning totally knowing what you plan on doing on that day, to understand that the actions you're about to take are going to have a meaningful impact in the life of those around you and ultimately that of yourself, and to know that day in, day out, whether it's today, tomorrow, or in 5-10 years, that you're going to have something consistent that you're going to be working towards. How exciting would that be? How motivating would that be? And honestly, until recently, I thought that this was the framework by which most people operated. But I realized that most people wake up with a sense of purposelessness. They don't really know what the day is going to bring with it. They let the punches come in as they come in, and they react to life. But let's flip the switch here. Let's take life by the reins, and let's set a core purpose, and let's spend the rest of our lives trying to achieve that purpose. So how does one come up with that purpose? That's exactly what I'm going to be discussing on today's episode. Purpose is going to start with a core understanding of what your values and what your goals are going to be in life. Let's use you as an example. Let's just say you're someone that is interested in building a career for themselves, in having a financial sense of stability. You're also interested in figuring out where you slot into this world. You have a spiritual question that you wish to be answered. You also want to live a healthy life, a life that is long, fulfilled, and full of energy. And you want to be surrounded by those that are closest to you, and to live and to have meaningful and healthy relationships. So you've identified 4 core values: career, you've identified spirituality, you've identified health, and ultimately you've identified relationships. Those are your 4 values. The purpose that you create is going to allow you to achieve the holistic sum of those 4 core values. That is your purpose. How you go about achieving that purpose is something we're going to be discussing later in this episode. Now that you've identified your core goals and you've assigned those goals to a purpose, to a larger, more generalistic purpose, how does one go about actually achieving this purpose on a long enough time frame? There's a very well-known framework called the SMART framework, and this is all about creating goals that are specific, creating goals that are measurable, creating goals that are achievable, relevant, and also that are time bound. So what do each of these things mean? When we create specific goals, we leave nothing up in the air. We are very meticulous about what we set out to achieve. So if I plan on getting healthy, what is the goal that I'm trying to achieve? I'm trying to achieve a 12% body fat. I'm trying to achieve a loss in this much weight within this much time. So that is my specific goal. What are the measures that I'm using for this fitness goal? Well, ultimately, I'm going to be using my body fat. I'm going to be using the amount of weight. I'm going to be using a record log of the weights that I'm lifting in the gym. So this is a measurable activity towards my goal. Well, then we move into achievable. Is this actually achievable? At the end of the day, you can set the loftiest goals for yourself, but what I find is so many people delude themselves into setting these extremely high goals, and they justify the lack of being able to achieve those goals as, oh, this was just not something that was even possible in the first place. It was a pipeline dream. It's important to set achievable goals that you actually have a chance of getting to. Set them so that they're just at the cusp of where your edge lies. Then it's all about having the ability to be relevant in your goals. So are your goals relevant, or are the steps you're taking relevant towards helping you achieve that goal? And then ultimately time bound. You need to set a specific time frame for each and every single goal you go out to achieve. It's all well and done to say, I want to get healthier, but within which time frame? Is it within 5 months, or is it within 5 years? You need to be specific about the time frame. Last but not least, we've set up our purpose, we've structured it into key goals, and we set a framework towards how we create those key goals. Now it's time to go ahead and actually create a lifestyle that allows you to execute and deliver on these key goals. So this is where having a strong daily routine is going to come into play. And if you've watched this channel before, you'll know that I advocate for a structured and consistent daily routine. They say that the idle hands are the work of the devil, because when you have no time scheduled, what you find is things that are meaningless to waste and to fill up that time. I find that by having a consistent schedule of predefined things, of predefined places to be, of predefined goals to meet, that you almost have no time to waste. And sure, one can say that we're not a to-do list and we're not a schedule, but at the end of the day, the ability to manifest your life by actually structuring what you want to happen on a day-to-day basis and just getting the shots in, getting the at-bats, is going to give you a infinitely better chance than someone who's not doing this. Look at the potter that built a beautiful vase made out of clay. At the end of the day, this potter shows up every day. He takes his clay, he starts to put it on the spindle, and he starts to mold it. But by doing that every single day, and by going through the motions every single day, he's able to get 1%, 2%, 5% better every single day. And this is the power of a daily routine. Just by showing up and by doing the things that you need to do, even if you don't do them phenomenally well, you will get better over a grand enough time frame. What is the moral of this episode? Well, the moral of this episode is to live with purpose. And I believe that living with purpose is the only remedy for a meaningless life. A life that is full of anxiety, a life that is full of uncertainty. When you have a core purpose for the actions that you strive to take, that core purpose infects, and I use infect in the best possible way, it infects all of the other parts of your life. It infects the relationships you have, the way that you speak, how you dress, how you operate, how you structure your day-to-day, because you understand that each and every single one of the actions that you take are all working towards a larger purpose. And this is the beauty and this is the importance of a purpose. A purpose is not just about having a lofty goal. Purpose is about having something to wake up for, something to strive towards, something to actively take part in, to give your life texture, to give your life depth and meaning. So do not take this for granted. Understand you have one life, and if you don't live that life with a purpose, what you'll find is a purposelessness to everything that you do every single day. So guys, hopefully this has hit home and it's resonated with some of you. This has been the soul that I find in my day-to-day, and ultimately if you guys benefited from this, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really does help me out. It keeps me and my team motivated to keep creating this content for you. Until next time guys, we'll speak soon.